The first film we did was Lock, Load, Love, and that was a real test to see if we could get a group of people together to make a project. It was definitely challenging initially, and the vignettes were put together into an overall story following these two characters, Ralph and Nina, as they go on these parallel dates, events kind of ultimately leading them together. Lock, Load, Love was really great too for another reason, in that we really relied on the generosity of many local businesses around us. Each of the locations are filmed in local restaurants or bars, and the owners were always very accommodating, very excited, and we made a point of something that's become kind of a Feenix Films staple since, of mentioning them in the end credits and on our website, and really just kind of trying to say thank you in any way that we can. It's something that we've used for all of our films since, and continue to use that model. In the end, we were really happy with how it worked out, and it prepared us for Nicky Newark, which was our next full-length feature. It followed the character of Bobby Cannonoli, who's a parole officer who wants to be an actor as he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. Nicky Newark was a very challenging film. We had this fire truck scene that was a real challenge to do, and that fire department was great. We had many different locations. We really were all over the place. We were in Orange, New York. We were in Mount Sinai, Long Island. We were in Newark, New Jersey. We were in Paterson, New Jersey. We were in Dumont and Ramsey, and you name it. We really crossed a lot of places location-wise. It was a very emotional story. It was something that kind of harkened back to a real gritty aspect of 70s filmmaking. The fight scene in the film represented another first for us in that we hadn't done one of those yet. We wanted the fight to be as realistic as possible, and that's something that we've continued to get compliments on, so we're glad that that's something that came across in the film. You know, the end was very ambiguous, and there's a lot of conflict, and ultimately we were really happy with how it turned out, and we got a lot of really nice responses, and we got a distributor out of the film, so it continues to be something that we're all really proud of, and that was something that brought us to our next film, which was Dealer. The film focuses on Mary Ann, who's in a state of lots of questionings about her life and how she fits in and what's happening, and her worrying, and she's a woman obsessed with a multitude of uncertainties in her world. Through her roommate Sergio, she ends up meeting his drug dealer Jack, and a romance begins between the two of them. But there's a really great question of various forms of addiction, and how that can affect you. Sometimes it's not necessarily a drug, but actually a person. The backdrop of all this is also the economic collapse of 2008, and how many firms, not just in New York, but all around the world, were in a state of panic as far as what was going to go on. The uncertainty that this caused with the employees within a lot of these corporations is shown by Mary Ann and her friend Amanda as they discuss the things that are going on. Something else that was great about Dealer was that we put out postings saying that we were looking for bands to use their music in the film. We ended up receiving a bunch of submissions, and we used about 30 of the songs submitted in the film after a real long process of deciding. And it was a way for us to kind of be an advocate for fellow artists who may not be getting some of the recognition that they deserve. So that was a really nice step for us, and hopefully something the bands enjoyed as well. Like most films that Feenix makes, we like to kind of leave things a little ambiguous in the end, or kind of pose some questions for people to answer for themselves emotionally, and that's something I really feel Dealer did well. The character Mary Ann is really struggling to find her place, and through a lot of the challenges that happen in the film, she ultimately figures out what she wants. The Basement is next in our films that we've made. This is our first short, which is a chapter in an overall larger anthology, which is based off of the old Twilight Zones, a little bit of Tales of the Dark Side with a little bit of, I guess, Princess Bride thrown in there ultimately when it's finished with the larger containing story, which focuses on 4 women who wake up to find themselves trapped in a basement and the challenges that go on for them in there. It's a very dark film. It's something darker than we've done before, but it's something we felt we were kind of ready to tackle and go for, and the final project has turned out really well, and we're really happy with how people have responded to it so far. The most recent chapter we filmed, which is the second chapter in the anthology, is actually called The Chamber. And The Chamber takes a lot of the things that we've learned, and any darkness that was in the basement, it kind of goes beyond, even though the setting is very white, white-black, almost to simulate the black and white of the old Twilight Zone TV shows. It is definitely a difficult thing to watch. And it also is a first for Feenix in that we couldn't find a set, so we built one. Something we were very proud of and happy with, and we won't want to spoil too much of the story, but you will see more of it as it comes along and comes together. So thank you. Here's a little history of films from Feenix, and we look forward to making more. Thank you for listening.